Hey everybody! Welcome to the Long Beach Playhouse New Works Festival, our staged readings of the 2020 winners in 2021. My name is Madison Mooney. I am the executive director here at the Long Beach Playhouse, and I'll be your sort of host for the evening. We do have a few announcements before we get started tonight. First, I want to kind of let everybody know what's going to be happening tonight. I've got a few announcements, a few thank yous to give out, and then we will be showing the staged reading, our Zoom reading of Denouement by Jack Raymond. And then after the reading finishes, we're going to be having a live talkback discussion. And so afterwards, we'll be taking questions that you can ask to the director, the writer, some of the cast. They'll be joining via Zoom later this evening. So I hope everybody can stick around, and you can put your questions in the chat when we get there. And so that's what's going to be happening later on today. I'm double checking to make sure the sound is working, and I believe it is. Good. I hope you guys can hear me. We've got about 20 people watching right now, which is awesome. Excited. So let's see. Tonight, I want to first give a big thank you to our New Works Committee. They read, a whole bunch of scripts back in 2019 for this round. And I want to give a quick shout out and thank all of these fantastic committee members who read a bunch of scripts and evaluated them and, picked our winners, one of which we'll be seeing tonight. So please join me in thanking Roxanne Patmore, Jerry Whitney, Steve Shane, Amber Kemper, Karen Salas, Taryn Moyes, Carmen Tunis, Chris Skinner, John Malloy, Taylor Brown, and Steve Gratch. And then a extra big thank you to our committee chair, Jane Nunn. For those of you who are around the Playhouse a lot, you know Jane and her wonderful husband, Mitch, Jane Nunn and Mitch Nunn. They're longtime patrons and volunteers and performers and crew members of the Long Beach Playhouse. So a big thank you to that fantastic committee that read all of these scripts and then picked Denouement as one of our winners. And also, we have a great sponsorship. We were sponsored by the Port of Long Beach, which made this whole event free for everyone, available here on YouTube for anyone that's able to stream it. And then if anyone has any issues tonight with your internet connection, or you have to cut out early and go to bed, this video will be on our YouTube page for a while, so you can revisit it later on this weekend. And so with the Port, there are some costs with the New Works Festival, and the Port gave us a fantastic sponsorship that covered our expenses, that we were able to make this amazing event free for our patrons. So we've got a great video that I'm going to be sharing, which kind of shows off why the Port of Long Beach is a great place to work and be and support.
It's been said that life is a matter of choices. And every choice makes you who you are. There are those who choose to plot a course, choose to take on responsibility, and deliver. Those who see that every person and thing around them is interconnected and are committed to shaping a successful future for all. At the Port of Long Beach, we are looking forward, listening closely, and leading the way, not only as the Green Port, but for all the things that make us the Port of Choice. We are dedicated to winning our customers' loyalty and trust by leading with confidence and being seen as we see ourselves. By recognizing the changing tides, we will continue charting a course to connect, enhance, and complement the efforts of our global customers and be a beacon for our local communities, all while keeping a promise of being environmentally focused and sustainable. Because we understand that the success of one depends on the success of all. We are united. We are the Port of Choice.
Another big thank you to the Port of Long Beach for sponsoring us this year. And with the Port sponsorship, it's covering this weekend's event for New Works 2020. And then upcoming in June will be the 2021 winners. And the Port is also going to be sponsoring that event, so that will be free for our community to enjoy. And speaking of the 2021 festival, we have some winners to announce, some scripts. Drum roll, please. Our 2021 New Works Festival winners are Book Club by Susie Heaton. It's going to be performed on June 4th. And Leon's Warning by Mark Littman, to be formed on June 5th. So the New Works Festival, the committee, they had a bunch of amazing scripts this year, and those two were our top two. So we're excited to be presenting those the first weekend in June 4th and 5th. It'll be similar setup to what we've got tonight here on our YouTube channel. And again, thanks to the Port of Long Beach, it's going to be free for everybody. So please be on the lookout for that registration and those announcements and those ticket links and all that fun stuff. And for all of the actors that are watching tonight, audition information for both of those scripts will be announced and put out on our website, on our Facebook page, in our audition email blast. We'll be sending that information out next week because we need to get some actors cast to read those amazing scripts and present them for you in June. So congratulations to those amazing writers and those amazing scripts. I'm looking forward to seeing them in June. And if you are interested in finding out more about the New Works Committee, the New Works Committee is going to be hosting a sort of informational meeting for folks if you're interested in coming on board. If you like reading scripts and you like judging things, the New Works Festival Committee is the right committee for you. Coming up on April 17th, at 10 a.m., they're going to have a kind of an informational meeting for those interested in joining, finding out more of what is expected of committee members, how much reading is involved, and the evaluation process. If you are interested in attending the meeting, it's going to be April 17th, 10 a.m. If you want to register with me, you're going to be emailing me, Madison Mooney. My email address is madison@lbplayhouse.org. This is how you spell it. Madison@lbplayhouse.org. I'll put it in the YouTube chat in a moment as well. So please email to RSVP for that meeting, and you'll get more information on the meeting and all that for April 17th at 10 a.m. So I think that's enough of me talking. You did not come here to hear me talk. You came here to see the amazing performances that we're about to see and the amazing script. Tonight's show is Denouement by Jack Raymond, directed by Tamara M. Sibley. And without much further ado, let's get the show rolling, and we'll see you on the other side, and then we'll be starting up our talkback and discussion with some of the cast and the crew and our writer. Enjoy.
Synopsis. Is there a good way to die? Asks Murray, a dying old communist Jewish union organizer. Yes, Mr. B, there is, answers TISHA, his young black hospice nurse. Dénouement is a play about that way. It requires one simple set, 5 actors, 2 females, 3 males, and lots of sound effects. Characters. Murray, Jewish Communist Union organizer, 70, played by Carl de Silva. TISHA, his young black hospice nurse, 30, played by Sonja Inge. Mildred, his dead wife, 50, played by Sarah Hoeven. Marty, his screenwriter's son, played by Sean Fisher. Doctor, his doctor, 40, played by Anthony Pierre Christopher. Announcer, Angry Workers, played by Anthony Pierre Christopher. Place, Murray's bedroom. Time, July 25th, 1989, when they tore down the wall. Acts, no scenes. Act 1, AM. Act 2, PM. Act 1, the stage is dark. Enough light seeps in from behind the blinds to make out shapes. Hospital bed, utility table, bedroom furniture. Sounds are heard. An old man snoring. Footsteps ascending stairs. A woman enters. She opens the blinds, filling the bedroom with light. It's TISHA, a black woman in her 30s.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to
Give it a
ya.
rest, would you, TISHA?
Whew. Oh, at least somebody's happy to see me. That tell better thumb. You know who feeds you. Oh. Any pain, Mr. B?
Nothing I can't handle. I can raise myself.
Well, excuse me.
Did I tell you, TISHA? You've done wonders with the decor. You've given my bedroom all the charm of a hospital ward.
Ooh, how can you stand the smell in here? Ooh, let's let some fresh air in. Another beautiful California day. Listen to those birds.
I'm not in a listening mood.
What's wrong, Mr. B?
Is he coming?
Of course he's coming. It's your birthday. How old are you?
I was born in 1909. You figure it out.
Congratulations, Mr. B. You're 90.
Is he bringing the boys?
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, I don't.
God, tell me what's wrong.
Tell him to come another time.
But today is your birthday.
I hate birthdays, especially the last one.
Oh, well, I know, honey. We'll talk about that later. Just as soon as we get you cleaned up.
What good am I, TISHA? All I do is eat, sleep, and shit.
Talking isn't whining. Come on, let's get it over with.
First, take out Sadie. Please, I don't want her to see it.
And then we take care of business.
Dildy. Dildy.
I'm right here, dear.
Is it really you?
Of course it's me, Murray. Who else would I be? What's wrong, dear?
They don't even let me. They don't even let a man die with his dignity. She changes my diaper, for crying out loud.
Oh, Murray, everyone has to go to the bathroom. Except me, of course. I don't do those kinds of things anymore.
I don't know how much longer I can put up with this.
Don't worry, dear. It will all be over before you know it.
Mind if I finish the paper first?
Oh, Murray, you can always be so funny sometimes. It happens when you least expect it. I mean, 1 minute you're... What was I doing, Mertz?
You were sitting on the toilet.
Of course. I was sitting on... How embarrassing. Good thing I died. Murray, you made that up. I was sleeping.
Yeah, I found you Sunday morning, lying there with your mouth open.
Remember how much we loved Sunday mornings, dear? Sometimes we'd lie in bed talking for hours.
I know. It was noon before I realized I was talking to a dead woman. Why, why did you have to die on me, Hildy?
Well, I didn't do it on purpose, Murray.
Sometimes I'd as soon get it over with.
Well, it's not just about you, Mertz. You have a son. You have Sadie. And you have, what's her name?
TISHA.
Your turn, Mr. B.
Quick, Mildred. Get back in the closet.
Don't worry, dear. Only you can see me. Oh, well, you didn't tell me she was a Negro, dear.
She's not a Negro. She's black.
What did you say, Mr. B?
I said she's back.
Who are you talking to? Anyway, let me see that tongue. Swallow. Now wash it down.
You forgot my newspapers.
She looks like a Negro to me, dear.
Well, maybe I forgot them on purpose. Swallow.
She looks like a Negro to me, Murray.
Why?
So we can talk.
I like her, Murray. What are you doing, Mertz?
Saving them for a rainy day.
Well, why, dear? Do they work better in the rain?
So I can take them all at once.
Who are you talking to, Mr. B?
Maybe I'm talking to myself.
You'll just get diarrhea, dear.
Keep quiet.
I hope you're not talking to me, Mr. B. Come on, Mr. B. Make it easy on both of us.
Get it over with, Murray.
Ooh. I see someone's been a busy little beaver. Hold still, Mr. B.
It looks like a nasty one, dear.
I wish I was dead.
Stop that whining.
Now, that's the nice thing about dying, dear. You never have to worry about those sorts of things anymore.
Can't a man whine on his birthday?
Remind me to put a little diaper X on that next time.
She's the one who should be complaining, dear.
Keep quiet, I said.
I hope you're not talking to me,
I was thinking out loud.
Mr. B.
I think she knows, dear.
She suspects, but she doesn't know.
How long have you had that diarrhea?
Half a century, give or take a decade or two.
No more dairy products for you.
I like her, Mertz.
Does that mean I'm cured?
Yeah, we'll see.
Story of my life, Tish. Just when I'm ready to croak, they discover the friggin' cure.
Well, that's better than never discovering it at all, dear.
Give it a rest, Mildred, for crying out loud.
You're talking to Mrs. B, aren't you, Mr. B?
Oh, I hate to break the news to you, Tisha, but come next September, she will have been in the ground for 20 years.
Well, I never said I was alive, Murray. Has it been that long, dear? Time flies when you're dead.
That doesn't mean you can't talk to her, Mr. B. Want to know the truth? I'm glad you're talking to her.
Oh, for crying out loud, Tisha, knock it off already.
Well, shame on you, Murray. Talking to TISHA like that. Where would you be without her? And where would that old dog be?
I'm sorry, Tisha.
Answer me, Mr. B.
Okay, I'm talking to her.
Well, welcome, Mrs. B. I'm so glad you're here. Mr. B has told me so much about you. You don't know how much I need your help, Mrs. B. You know what a handful he is.
Oh, for the love of Pete.
Well, you've always been a handful, dear. And I'd be glad to help, TISHA. Well, tell her, Murray.
She says she'll help.
Thank you, Mrs. B. I knew I could count on you. Uh, could you give me a few minutes to talk to your husband alone?
Talk about what?
Well, it must be something important. I'll be right here, dear.
She's gone.
Close your eyes. Okay, relax. Don't think about anything. Just let go. Lie back and listen to the birds and feel the warm water on your skin. You're right, Mr. B. A man should get to wine on his birthday.
Whine about what?
You're the one doing the whining.
I'm dying, aren't I?
Yes, honey, you are.
Well, thank you, TISHA. You're the only one who tells me the truth. How do you know he's coming?
He called.
Of course he called. He wanted to be sure I was still alive before investing in the birthday card. Getting so the bloody card costs more than the freaking present.
How do you feel about what I just said?
Sometimes I'd assume get it over with.
Mm. How do you feel right now?
Scared.
Yeah, I know you are, honey. Close your eyes. Now, tell Tisha what scares you.
Will it hurt?
Mm, I'll take care of the pain. What else scares you?
How do you die, TISHA?
You take my hand, close your eyes, picture something you love in your mind, and you just let go. What are you thinking about?
Wash it more.
Mr. B,
Okay. I'll give it this much, TISHA. You know how to wash a man's dick.
I thought you couldn't feel anything down there.
Oh, I can remember.
What do you want for your birthday?
If I tell you, will you give it to me?
I will if I can. Lift up those arms.
Promise?
First, tell me.
I want to see it before I die.
Mr. B,
I heard that, Murray.
Please, TISHA. One little peek. What could it hurt?
you know what it looks like.
I forgot. All I remember is that I liked it.
I'll send you some magazines.
That's not the same. I'm not dead yet.
Is that your new shtick?
That's enough, Murray.
What do you want for breakfast, you naughty boy?
Well, 3 eggs, over easy, bacon, a side of potatoes, a stack of Jacks, plenty of syrup. Are you writing all this down?
Oatmeal or Ralston?
You choose. What kind of shit would you rather clean? Oatmeal shit or Ralston shit?
You're so very naughty.
Do I get coffee? Please, TISHA. It's my birthday. You like that shtick better?
Much better.
Huh.
We'll have coffee together.
Bring Sadie, TISHA, and my newspapers.
Not if I don't hear the magic word.
Please.
You shouldn't have to be told. Now, what did you and Tisha talk about?
I don't want to talk about it.
That white Ford Bronco. It's going south on the 405.
Why not, Mertz?
Because I don't remember, that's why.
2 bodies found outside the house in Brentwood.
The Germans tear down the wall, China murders thousands in Tiananmen Square, the U.S. invades Panama, and all they talk about is O.J. frickin' Simpson.
You don't remember because you don't want to remember.
Sounds like a pretty good reason to me.
But I want to know, Murray.
She told me I'm going to die. Okay?
But you knew that, dear.
Whew. Whew, if you had a penny for every time you had to climb these stairs, Tisha, you would be in the top 1%. Whew.
Thank her, Murray.
Ah, she couldn't wait to see you.
I miss you too, Sadie, old girl. Yes, I did. I did too. You know what keeps me alive, Dildy? This old dog.
Ah, it's true, Mrs. B. They keep each other alive. Neither one of them has the heart to leave the other one behind.
You hear that, Sadie? If we keep this up, we'll live forever. You know who you are, Sadie? You are my savior. Yes, you are. Well, why not, Tish? Last time he sent a Jew. This time he sent his only begotten dog.
That's enough, Murray.
I'll be back with the coffee. Your turn, Mrs. B.
Hey, think it's an accident the dog spelled backwards is God?
Is that my Mertzi Dotes hiding behind that old newspaper?
No, it's Father Christmas. Whatever happened to family values, Mr. Quayle?
Who's Mr. Quayle, dear?
The vice president. What happened? Free enterprise happened. Greed happened. Every man jack for himself happened. You happened, Danny boy.
Talk to me, Murray.
This isn't the 60s, Mr. Bush. This time, they got more than an ounce of grass and a string of love beads. This time, they got crack cocaine and AK-47 assault rifles.
Well, who's Mr. Bush?
Lock up another one for the NRA.
Once that man gets started,
Nothing boosts gun sales like a civil war.
not even God can stop him.
They won't be satisfied until they get Congress to pass a law making it a felony for anyone 18 or older to be caught in the streets without carrying an assault weapon.
Do you hear me, Murray?
What?
How come we never talk anymore?
Because you're dead. That's why.
Can you smell the coffee, Mr. B?
Hand it over.
Oatmeal first,
It'll get cold.
then get busy. Swallow. Okay. Wipe that chin.
No. Hand it over.
Slowly. Whew. Did you get to think about what we were talking about?
Don't you have something to do, Mildred?
No, dear.
Oh, do it anyway.
Oh, well, I can take a hint, Murray.
If something happens to me, Tisha, will you look after Sadie?
Of course I will. I love that old dog as much as you do. What else did you think about?
How is it possible for a bright, attractive young lady like you to get stuck wiping an old man's ass?
I'm not stuck. I love what I do.
What's to love about it?
I got to meet you.
Is there someone in your life, Tisha, someone you care about?
I care about you.
I pay you to care.
You pay me to take care of you. I care about you because I choose to.
Someone alive and kicking.
Maybe I don't like kicking, Mr. B. What else, Mr. B?
You don't fool me, Tisha. Someone broke your heart, didn't he?
What else, Mr. B?
Is there a good way to die, Tisha?
Yes, there is. Most of us live our lives in denial. We're so busy avoiding the truth. Do you want me to go on, Mr. B?
Go on.
Only those with the courage to work through their denial can find peace. Are you sure you want me to continue, Mr. B?
I am.
The whole world will conspire against you. your family, your doctor, your mind, especially your mind. It'll throw everything it's got at you.
Throw what?
False hope, confusion, despair, anger, especially anger. All trying to drive you back into that false security of denial.
Well, what happens if I don't go back?
Then you'll come face to face with fear. Not a particular fear, but fear itself, if you don't turn away. If you look fear straight in the face, your whole life will change.
Change how?
You'll never be afraid again.
How do you know?
I've been here before, Mr. B. In the meantime,
I don't have to.
try.
Don't you think I know when I have to pee? Oh,
I thought you knew.
I do. I know when I pee. The problem is that I got to look at my dick to know when I'm done.
Just listen.
Well, that's brilliant. How come men can't think of things like that?
We'll talk more about that later.
Wait.
We'll talk more about that later. Ooh, if you knew everything I had to do.
What have you got to do?
Bake a cake.
Don't forget to wash your hands. Those right-wing fruitcakes won't be satisfied until every last man Jack one of us breaks away from the bloody union and declares himself a sovereign freaking state.
What right-wing fruitcakes, Mertz?
The Republicans.
What about the Democrats, dear?
Oh, don't talk to me about the Democrats. They're a bunch of whiz.
What's a whiz?
It's the plural of wuss.
You didn't tell her, did you, Murray? Now tell me the truth.
Tell her what?
That you're a you-know-what, dear.
No one gives a good goddamn about communists anymore.
Well, what do they care about now?
Latte drinking, tree hugging, bleeding heart liberals.
Oh my God, Murray, is it really him? I don't believe it. It's been 20 years since I've seen him.
Give it a rest. I just hope he didn't bring the boys.
What boys?
Your grandsons. What do you think, what boys?
My God, I'm a grandma. Why didn't you tell me, Murray?
How could I tell you? You were dead, for crying out loud.
Oh, Mertz, I hope he brought them. My grandson. I've never seen them, you know. Murray, what's wrong? Stop it, Murray. You cannot fool me. I've known you too long. Do you want your son to see you like that? Do you hear me, Murray?
I just can't talk to the kid, Guilty.
That's because you don't talk. You lecture.
I never know what to say.
Well, you've got plenty to say, dear. Tell him about how you fought Franco. Or better yet, tell him how you built a union.
Oh, I know. We're going to talk about sports. That's why they invented it, so fathers and sons have something to talk about.
Maybe he wants to talk to you.
About what?
Oh, Murray, do you think he's in some kind of trouble?
Oh, crying out loud. The kid's 40 bloody years old.
I never said it wasn't a big responsibility, Murray.
What are they doing down there? Are they having an affair?
Oh my God, Murray, do you think she's pregnant?
For crying out loud, Dildy, give it a goddamn rest.
Well, I will give it a rest. I'll never open my mouth again.
Good.
Oh my God. Mercy, he's really coming. I can hardly wait.
Someone to see you, Mr. B.
Tell him to take a number.
My darling boy. Oh my God, Murray, he's losing his hair.
Happy birthday, Pop. How are you doing?
Apart from dying, I'm doing great.
I can't get over it. He looks just like his father.
Don't just stand there, Tisha. Go kill a fatted calf.
They grow up so fast. At 1 minute, they're calling you mommy. The next minute, they're losing their hair. The spitting image.
Knock it off, damn it.
Knock what off?
Did you bring the boys, Marty?
No, it wasn't my turn.
Oh, what a shame, Murray.
When's it your turn?
Alternating weekends and holidays, and 2 weeks every summer.
Okay, well, bring them around next weekend.
I will, Tisha.
Oh, I can't wait, Mertz.
By the way, Pop, Johnny sends his regards.
Johnny? I don't know any Johnnies.
Walker. You remember your old drinking buddy?
So, Tisha, don't you have something to do?
We'll be fine, Tisha. You ready to party, Pop?
Shh. We know you're out there, Tisha.
It's awfully quiet up there.
So, you think the Lakers will take the pennant this year?
Don't bet on it, Pop.
Don't you have something to do, Tisha?
Johnny Walker.
Oh, code red. Don't admit a thing.
On your feet. Stretch out those arms.
Who do you think you are, the FBI? He's a guest in my house.
What's hiding in that sock?
Oh, have a heart, Tisha. It's my birthday.
Work with me, Marty.
Don't I even get a little snort on my birthday? It's not fair. Johnny Walker Black, too. Do you know what this means? I'll never get drunk again.
Oh, that's enough, Murray.
Yes, you will, Pop. I promise.
I'm holding you to it.
Oh, shame on you, Murray.
He owes me, goddammit.
Owes you for what?
All those early Saturday morning soccer games.
Are they keeping you busy, Pop?
Well, that's the downside of lying in bed all day. Not a lot to keep you busy. She doesn't even let me wipe my own ass.
What do you do all day?
Look at the freaking universe.
Be nice, Murray.
Is that all?
I read the paper.
How can you read the Wall Street Journal, Pop?
Well, to find out what they're up to.
What who's up to?
The powers that be.
You want my baby.
No good. And they got to stop before it's too late.
Don't start, Murray.
Now they're handing Eastern Europe over to the big corporations on a silver platter.
Who should they hand it to?
The people. That's who.
And you my baby.
Them that does the work.
Oh, those people. I always wondered who they were.
You see what I mean? Huh? What's the point in even trying?
Who are you talking to, Pop?
I'm talking to you.
Me and who else?
Don't answer, Murray.
What else do you do, Pop?
I watch CNN,
And what else?
C-SPAN,
What do you look forward to?
Frontline.
You mean all you do is watch the news?
It's the only original thing left on TV. You never know what's going to happen next. Priests rape choir boys. Christians kill doctors in the name of the Lord. Mothers drown their babies and blame the black guy.
Well, at least she didn't blame the Jews, dear.
Disgruntled housewife cuts off her husband's dork and throws it in the parking lot.
That's enough, Murray.
It's like a damn soap opera. It's just too bad I won't be around to find out how it ends.
Getting old is tough, isn't it, Bob?
Can't say I recommend it. But then your options aren't all that attractive.
I don't look forward to it.
You don't even know when it's happening until it's too late. First, you need glasses. Then you put on a few pounds.
Start losing your hair.
Then you can't climb a flight of stairs without gasping for breath. Then the brown splotches appeared on your skin.
That's enough, Murray.
But you still don't believe you're old.
When do you believe it?
When you wake up one fine morning, just like any other morning, only you're lying in a pile of your own shit.
I mean it, Murray.
It's nature's way of telling us death's not so bad after all.
Stop it, Murray.
Oh, give it a rest, will you?
Who are you talking to, Pop?
Maybe I'm talking to myself.
That's not what you say when you're talking to yourself.
How come I said it then?
That's a good question, Pop.
Do you see anyone here?
Do you?
Don't answer, Murray.
Knock it off, Dildy.
She's dead, Pop.
Is she? I wonder where she went.
Why are you talking to her?
What do you want me to do? Ignore her?
You mean she talks to you?
You know your mother never could shut her up.
I heard that, Murray.
What does she say?
Whatever happens to be on her mind.
Does TISHA know about this?
She talks to her too.
Change the subject, Murray.
So, tell me, how's the writing business?
I'm hot, Pop.
Huh?
Paramount gave me a 3-picture deal.
Oh my God, he writes movies? Oh, Murray, that's wonderful.
It's big bucks, Pop. If there's anything you need.
A new asshole?
Didn't I always tell you he was a late bloomer, dear?
Oh, for crying out loud.
I'm starting to get worried, Pop.
What kind of movies?
The kind you don't like.
How do you know I don't like them?
I don't even like them.
What kind of a writer writes things he doesn't like?
The kind that wants to work. That way, I get to eat, the boys get to go to a private school, and you get TISHA.
Careful, Murray. You don't want to end up in one of those awful places.
Do you think it's easy to keep coming up with new ways to chase someone around in a car?
You mean they pay you to write this crap? I thought they made it up as they went along.
They do.
Then what do they need you for?
They need something to change.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Be nice, Murray.
Ever think of writing about something worth writing about?
Like what?
Like the struggle, that's what.
Oh, don't start, Murray.
What struggle?
The class struggle.
Ah, yeah, the class struggle. I remember that one. Big in the 30s, wasn't it?
Why do you answer him, Murray?
And what's big now?
The struggle between Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi.
Murray, why must there always be a struggle?
How come you only see things one way, Pop? Is it because you only got one eye?
Honestly, it never fails. It's not 10 minutes. Those two are together before they are at each other's throats.
Such a shame. Socialism turned out to be just another passing fad. It was such a lovely idea, too. People sharing and all.
Got any better ideas?
Yeah, free enterprise.
That's not an idea. That's greed.
What about democracy?
It's dictatorship all day long at work. It's only democracy at night when you get to choose which channel to watch.
You got any better ideas?
Yeah, democracy. Congress is bought and paid for by the big corporations. That's not democracy. That's oligarchy.
That's enough, Murray.
Lay off, goddammit.
How do you explain her, Pop, materialistically speaking?
Why must I be explained, dear?
I don't have to explain her. I just have to listen to her.
Well, I heard that, Murray.
She's a figment of your imagination, Pop.
Is it true, Dildy? Are you just a figment?
Well, I never said I was real, dear.
Well, maybe she's just a figment, but she's my figment.
I think he misses his mommy, dear.
Do you ever talk about me?
You are her favorite subject.
Well, I don't want to be talked about.
You hear that, Dildy? He doesn't want to be talked about.
He does miss his mommy, dear.
Pop, there's something I always wanted to ask you.
What?
Was I an accident? Is that why you have me so late in life?
The truth is you can thank Franco that you're here.
Murray!
What's Franco got to do with it?
Your mother wouldn't let me go to Spain unless we had a baby. So in case I didn't come back. In other words, you were my replacement. But I spoiled everything. I came back.
So you have me for nothing.
I know. But what could we do? Put you back?
Murray, what an awful thing to say.
That's it. I'm out of here.
Stop him, Murray.
Well, what do you want me to do? Trip him?
Say something, Murray.
She came to see me.
Who did?
Marge. Sit down. Sit down.
Who's Marge?
Your daughter-in-law.
Ex-daughter-in-law. Now you've done me talking to her.
As long as the boys live in her house, she's my daughter-in-law.
Murray, they're separated. Why didn't you tell me?
Did she say anything about me?
Your name might have come up.
What did she say?
Sorry, big guy. You're not in the loop.
I think it's such a shame when the children are involved.
Did she tell you what happened?
She said I should ask you. So, what happened?
I moved out. That's what happened.
How did the boys react?
And how did the boys react?
Since when did you get so interested?
Since you moved out.
They didn't like it. That's how.
You should have thought about that before you left her.
Did she say I left her?
No, you said you left her. Did you leave her?
I said I moved out.
Oh, Murray, she kicked him out.
Booted your butt out, didn't she, big guy?
Let's just say we split, okay? Murray?
Why, Murray?
Why?
I don't want to talk about it.
Your mother insists.
Keep out of this, Mom. Now you've got me talking to her.
Just tell us why.
Because she's a cunt. That's why.
And just what might that be?
A vagina, dear.
It's a woman who makes you crawl for it.
And did you crawl for it?
Remember, Murray? He started crawling early. I mean, it's true. When most babies were just rolling over, he was already on his hands and knees.
She didn't make you crawl. You crawled all by yourself.
Goodbye, Pop.
Stop him, Murray.
She wants you to come home.
Did she say that?
No, I said that.
How do you know?
Sit down and I'll tell you why. Because she's not about to throw away her investment just when it's starting to pay out.
What investment?
You. Who paid the bills before you started making big bucks? Not the little woman by any chance.
See, she's been telling you her sob story. She knew I wanted to be a writer when we got married.
But did she know she had to pay the bills?
And who paid the bills while you were saving the world? Not the little woman by any chance.
Keep quiet, you.
It's true, Murray. I taught public school for 30 years.
Yeah, that's right. Take his side.
Murray, why must there always be sides?
She did her part, Pop. How come you never saved the world?
Sometimes I wonder why I even bother talking to the kid.
Oh, that's right, Murray. Hide behind your paper.
Just like it was when I was a kid. I'd sit on the living room floor looking up at that paper while I try to think of something to get your attention.
Murray, put down that paper and talk to your son.
Something that'll piss you off.
All he ever wanted was for his father to put down his paper and acknowledge his existence.
Tell us, Comrade Patch, now that the wall has come down, how fares the Soviet Union?
Oh, don't answer him, Murray.
Where did it go? It seems to have disappeared. Did it fall into the sea like Atlantis?
Did they scrap all the missiles? Huh?
Did that naughty Grinch steal the Soviet Union?
Did the Red Army retire?
Last I heard, they were all working as extras on Anna Karenina.
Why do you answer him, Murray? Murray, put down that paper and talk to your son.
Weekly worker, say, Pop, didn't that used to be a daily?
You see, Mildred, he does it on purpose.
How do you explain the wall coming down, Comrade Patch? Is Marxism full of shit, or did the Soviet Union fuck it up? Which one, Pop? You can't have it both ways.
Don't answer him, Murray.
At least we believed in something. Your generation doesn't believe in a goddamn thing.
You know when I stopped believing, Comrade? The day they rolled the tanks into Prague.
Shut up, you.
Stop it! The both of you.
How can you call yourself a writer when you got nothing to say? What do you write? What they tell you to write?
What they pay me to write!
Well, then you're no writer. You're a goddamn whore.
And what are you, Comrade?
I built a union, you little mutt. It's time we face facts, Dildy. Our little boy here has become a fascist.
Murray, what an awful thing to say.
What have you got to show for it? Not a pot to piss in.
Get out.
Backed the wrong horse, didn't you, Comrade? But then that's how revolutions are. Very volatile. Up one moment, down the next. You'd have done better with the blue chips.
Get out, I said.
If I go, Pop, I won't be back.
Good.
Murray, how can you say that? Now, I hope you're satisfied.
Let him go, TISHA.
I think you've said enough, Mr. B.
Shame on you, Murray.
Can't you see what he's trying to do? Hmm?
What?
He's trying to come between us.
Honestly, Murray, sometimes I think you're jealous.
Know what I think? I think you encourage it. How many times did I tell you to quit parading around in front of the kid with your bush hanging out?
You are jealous. I don't know what else I can think.
Tell me the truth, huh? I have the right to know before I die.
The truth about what?
You loved him more than you loved me, didn't you?
Love is love, Murray. There's no more or less about it.
Just keep quiet.
Are you shouting?
No, I'm not shouting.
Well, it sounded like shouting to me.
Shut the fuck up! Now that's shouting. You see the difference?
Goodbye, Murray. If a man and his wife can't talk without shouting, how will there ever be peace in the world?
Wait, Dildy? Please? Oh, come back. Dildy, did you hear me? Mildred? Please? Not now. I'm dying. I'm dying, for crying out loud. Oh, what's the goddamn use? I blew it. Didn't I, Tish?
I'm afraid you did, Mr. B.
Yeah. Now what?
You tell me.
I wish I was dead.
No whining.
I'm just sorry.
I know you are. And angry, too.
I'm not angry, goddammit.
Mr. B.
All right, I'm angry.
Angry at what?
At the goddamn kid.
And what else?
And my wife.
And what else?
This party.
And what else?
The Soviet frickin' Union.
And what else?
And what else? You sound like that lady at the bakery.
And what else?
I'm angry at me. I blew it, Tisha. I threw my life away.
Are you still angry?
No. No. Now I'm just sad.
Yeah, I know you are, honey. Dying isn't something that happens to us. It's something that we must do.
How?
This is the denouement, Mr. B.
What's that supposed to mean?
It means that you face your fears and tie up any loose ends.
What loose ends?
You tell me.
Is he coming back?
Do you want him to come back?
I do.
Then he'll come back. Okay, time for your nap.
What happens if I face my fears?
The world will turn upside down. You laugh when you should cry. You feel feelings that you've always been afraid to feel. And what you believed in all your life suddenly doesn't make any sense. Do you have something to give me, Mr. B?
How did you know? Why didn't you take them while I was asleep?
I knew you'd give them to me when you were ready. You don't need pills, honey. Just tell Tisha when you've had enough.
And what will you do?
I'll make sure that you feel no pain, and I'll hold your hand.
Dying, it isn't easy, is it, Tisha?
It's the hardest thing we'll ever have to do.
Yeah.
Act 2. The stage is dark. Enough light seeps in from behind the blinds to know it's still day out. Kids are still playing in the park. Birds are still chirping in the trees. Traffic still droning away on a distant freeway. Suddenly, Murray wakes up screaming.
Dilty? Dilty? Where are you?
I'm right here, dear.
Oh, I dreamt I was dying.
It's just a bad dream, Murray.
Then how come it didn't stop when I woke up?
Why don't you watch the news, Mertz? Something important might have happened while you were sleeping.
What's it like, Dilty?
What's what like?
Being dead, goddammit.
Murray, it's not like anything.
It must be like something.
Why must it, Mertz?
Then answer this. What happens when you go in that closet?
Murray, what could happen in a closet?
Tell me.
I don't remember. Isn't that funny? And I was just there, too.
What's the first thing you remember?
Coming out of the closet.
Please, Dildy, tell me what it's like.
Do you really want to know?
I do.
Remember what it was like before you were born?
No, I don't.
Why not, Mertz?
Because I wasn't there, that's why.
Where were you?
Nowhere, goddammit.
That's what it's like.
Oh, I was afraid of that.
Look on the positive side, dear. No more pain. No more bills. No more banks. No more insurance companies. No more you know what every morning. And best of all, Mertz, we'll be together.
Where? In that closet?
You can be so funny, Mertz.
Tell me, Dildy, please. What's it all about?
What's what all about, dear?
Life, damn it.
Murray, it's not about anything. It's just what happens to us before we die.
Oh, for crying out loud, it must be about something.
And why must it always be about something else, Mertz? Why can't it just be about what it is?
Then answer me this. Why are we here?
Where's here, dear?
The bloody universe, for crying out loud.
Well, it doesn't look like a universe, Mertz. It looks like our bedroom. And where did you get those curtains, Murray? They're hideous. And those lights. Oh, the theater. Oh, Murray, you know how much we always loved the theater.
Please, Mildred, I have to know. Why are we here?
To celebrate your birthday, dear. My God, I hope it's not supposed to be a surprise party.
We were going to change the world, Dildy.
Oh, it's not as bad as it would have been, Mertz.
Yeah. What about the revolution?
Revolutions aren't everything, Murray. Unions are important too, and civil rights, and social security, and peace. Those are the things you fought for all your life, dear.
They seemed important at the time. It's him.
Who's him?
Your darling boy.
Well, it doesn't sound like him to me, dear.
You're right. It's the doctor.
Oh.
I wonder what he wants.
Well, maybe he'd stop by for a piece of cake.
Shh, how can I hear it? They sure have a lot to talk about down there.
You shouldn't eavesdrop, dear.
They're talking about me, damn it. It's the only way to find out what's going on.
Well, just ask him, Mertzy.
I do ask him. He doesn't tell me a goddamn thing.
Then demand an answer. You have a right to know, Murray.
He doesn't hear a word I say.
Make him hear. I'm beginning to think, Mertz, you're afraid to find out.
It's like I don't exist, Mildred.
I'm beginning to think maybe you don't want to find out.
Lay off, Mildred.
Well, I don't know what else I can think.
Someone to see you, Mr. B.
Oh, is he carrying a scythe?
And happy birthday, Mr. Brunowski.
Ask him, dear.
Were you in the neighborhood, doctor, or did you just drop by for a piece of cake?
Oh, I dropped by to speak with TISHA. And while we're here, we're going to change your medication, Mr. B. And I thought I would take a little peek while I'm here.
A little peek at what?
Oh, just routine, Mr. B. So, how have you been feeling?
As good as can be expected.
And how good is that?
You tell me. You're the doctor.
Like a metronome, Mr. B.
Practice makes perfect.
Go on, Murray. Ask him.
All right. Breathe deep. Hold it. Ooh, I wish I had his lungs, TISHA. He's probably outlived the both of us.
I've been meaning to have a word with you, Doc.
About what?
About how am I doing?
Bowel movements, TISHA.
Every morning.
Consistency.
Like oatmeal. Sometimes like Ralston.
Ask him, Murray.
I asked you a question, doctor.
Follow the light with your eye, not your head, just the eye. Now, TISHA tells me that your son is coming to celebrate your birthday. I'm sorry I can't stay for all the festivities.
No, and we hired a clown too.
Go on, Murray.
I want an answer, doctor.
Tell you what?
How am I doing?
I hate to be the one to break the news to you, Mr. B. But I'm afraid you'll never play ball again.
Damn, there goes the pennon.
Ask him, Murray.
All right. Squeeze my hands, both of them, hard as you can. Harder. TISHA, this man is as strong as an ox.
And he's as stubborn as one, too. Isn't that right, Mr. B?
I asked you a question, doctor.
What seems to be
The
problem,
patient
Mr.
asked you a
Brunowski?
question, doctor.
Well, what seems to be the problem, Mr. Brunowski?
Cancer.
Turn your head and cough.
So, what's the prognosis?
You're still hanging in there, Mr. B. Now, what can I say? Now, this time, the other way.
Let me put it to you like this, Doc. How's the cancer doing? Is it still hanging in there too?
No, I talked to Marty this morning.
No, now you're talking to me.
Good for you, dear.
Right now, it's benign, Mr. B. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Benign my ass.
Well, what do you want me to tell you, Mr. Brunowski?
What's the matter, doctor? Is dying a dirty word?
Well, sooner or later, we all have to die.
Good for you, Doc. You said it. How bad was that?
Open up and say, ah.
How long, doctor?
Good for you, dear.
That's up to God, Mr. B. Now open up and say, ah.
Ah.
Yeah, I understand he's in the movie business. I bet you he has some stories to tell.
Who? God? How long?
That's what we're going to find out.
You could have saved us both time if you just looked down there in the first place. So, what's the verdict?
Ask him, Murray.
How long, doctor? What are you looking at her for? You're the freaking doctor.
What do you want me to say, Mr. B?
I want you to answer my question.
I mean, they're coming up with new experiments every day.
Look at me, doctor.
I mean, new drug therapies, new...
Look at me, I said. Now read my lips. How long?
Good for you, dear.
Tell him,
Good for
doctor.
2 weeks, maybe a month.
Very good, doctor. Um, Next question. How?
How what?
How am I going to die?
Why do you want to know, Mr. Bronowski?
Because I'm the one who's going to have to do it. That's why. It's my first time, doctor. I don't want to make any mistakes.
What do you want me to tell you, Mr. B?
What's the coroner going to write on his on the death certificate? Let's start with that.
Believe me, Mr. Bronowski, you don't want to know.
You have a right to know, Murray.
Tell me, doctor, or I'll give you the worst 2 weeks of your life, maybe the worst month.
May I speak to you in private, doctor?
Yes.
Good for you, Mertz.
God, I got a good mind to start a movement. Treat the terminally ill like adults, or by God, we refuse to die.
Well, it's time someone did something, dear.
Because I'm his doctor. That's why.
And I know him, doctor.
Trouble is, we'll all be dead before we get organized.
You win, Mr. Bronowski?
Well, give me the play-by-play.
Stop me if it gets too rough.
Go on, doctor. It's like being a witness at your postmortem.
We can't stop the tumor from growing. Soon it will grow so large that it will block the flow of undigested matter to the colon. I hope you know what you're doing, TISHA.
Go on, doctor.
So where does it go?
Where does what go?
The undigested matter.
It backs up through the esophagus and it is ejected out the mouth.
You mean I'm going to shit through my mouth?
No, vomit, Mr. B.
Oh, why didn't you say that, doctor? Vomit's bad enough, but it's a whole lot better than shit.
What? Laughing is better than crying.
Go on, doctor.
To prevent vomiting, we insert a nasogastric tube through the nose and into the stomach.
Then what?
I'm afraid that's all we can do, Mr. Bronowski.
Oh, and what happens to me? Or must I spend the rest of eternity with a gastronasic tube up my freaking nose?
Well, after putting your affairs in order and saying your goodbyes, you can elect to have the intravenous feeding stopped.
Then what?
Then nature takes her course.
And what course might that be?
Well, and from 5 to 7 days, you'll expire.
You mean I'll starve to death?
I'm sorry, Mr. B.
That's better than dying of cancer.
Well, the good news is, Mr. B, we can control the pain.
Well, isn't science wonderful, Mertz? Pain can be very unpleasant.
Thank you, doctor. I appreciate the candor.
Well, happy birthday, Mr. B.
Yeah.
I'll see you out, doctor.
I can see myself out, TISHA.
You are my hero, Mr. B. Oh, you said everything I wanted to say. That was so brave.
You're my hero too, Mertz.
I don't feel very brave.
Well, I know you don't, honey. That makes you even braver.
Now what happens?
Could you give us a few minutes, Mrs. B?
Oh, of course, TISHA.
She's gone.
Well, what do you think happens?
Everything goes on as usual, only you're not there.
Do you believe in God?
No, I don't.
What do you believe in?
Nada. What about you?
I believe in something bigger than ourselves. I don't know if I'd call it God.
What would you call it then?
Life, what makes living things alive, not just people, but all living things. If God is anything, he's got to be life. Not a particular life like Jesus, but life itself.
What would you call it if I told you I was a Catholic?
I call it Jesus
Hmm. How do you know it's really there?
because I feel its presence.
What's it like, Tisha?
Uh, Look at Sadie, Mr. B. Oh, look how she's looking at you.
I love you too, Sadie. Yes, I do. I do too.
If that's not God's love shining out of those old eyes, Mr. B, there's no such thing. Oh,
I see what you mean, Tisha.
I love you, Mr. B.
I'll bet you say that to all your patients.
You know you're special, Mr. B.
Who broke your heart, Tisha?
My father, he died, and I never got the chance to say goodbye.
How did he die?
He killed himself.
Why?
Couldn't stand the pain. I should have been there, Mr. B.
Where were you?
Learning how to heal the sick and relieve their pain.
It wasn't your fault.
I should have been there just the same.
You didn't break your heart. You broke it all by yourself.
Are you all right, dear?
Oh, never felt better. Come here, Dildy. Let me look at you.
Oh, I must look awful. Stop it, Murray. I wonder what's got into him.
Can a man look at his wife?
The nice thing about dying young, you never look old.
Remember when we met, Dildy?
Oh, of course I remember, dear. It was the funniest thing. We were always running into each other. It never failed. If I went to a meeting, Murray would be there. When I left for work in the morning, I'd bump into him in the hall. When I got off the trolley at night, clang, clang, clang went the trolley. There would be my Mertzy. Ding, ding, ding went the bell. It was fate, dear.
Fake my ass. I used to listen to the door. When I heard your footsteps coming down the hall, I'd leave for work.
Oh, Mertzy. That's even better. Don't you think that's romantic? Whatever happened to that old towel, dear? Pink one. Remember, Mertzy, with all the flowers on it?
I know the towel you mean.
What happened to it, Mertz? Oh, Mertzy, that's so sweet. Good thing towels can't talk. Murray, it's him.
Shh. I hear voices down there. And one of them is Marty's.
Oh, it's your son, Murray.
What do I say to him, Dilty?
You say goodbye, dear.
He thinks I'm a loser, Dilty.
Well, then straighten him out, Murray.
What am I supposed to say?
Tell him about the union, dear. I want him to know, Murray. And I want the boys to know, too.
What makes you think he'll listen?
Make him listen.
What makes you think I can?
Because I know my Mertzy.
We need to talk, Pop.
So talk.
We'll be good, Tisha.
Mm-hmm. You better be.
I don't know where to start, Pop.
You start, dear.
Anything in that sock?
Murray.
I got something better.
There is nothing better.
Oh, yes, there is.
What do you got there, big guy?
It's a peace pipe.
Contraband. I won't have contraband in my house.
Just try it. Look, watch me, Pop. 5 easy steps. 1, light up. 2, fill every anxious alveolar. 3, hold it in as long as you can.
You know how I feel about drugs.
4, exhale out the window so she won't smell it. 5, kick back and enjoy the ride. Go for it, Pop.
Go for it, dear.
Give me the goddamn pipe.
Easy, Pop.
Light it.
Maybe this isn't such a good idea.
Light it, I said.
Hold it in, Pop.
Good for you, dear.
Like a junkie, Pop. The window, Pop.
I don't feel a goddamn thing.
Give it a moment to kick in.
Can't you see what's going on? The CEOs collect $1 million bonuses while they put their workers on the street. The bloody SNLs bankrupt the country and they blame it on the welfare moms.
Don't start, Murray.
Congress cuts taxes for the rich and builds more prisons for the poor. Now they want to turn healthcare over to the big insurance. It was something I was going to talk to you about. It was something important. Damn it if I remember what it was. When is it supposed to kick in?
I wouldn't worry about that, Pop.
The window, dear.
It's not fair. Big insurance got health care. Wall Street, you get something too, right? I know. Let's give them Social Security.
Get off your soapbox, Murray.
Give the post office to FedEx, the airwaves to Murdoch, the Air Force to Southwest Airlines, the Navy to Carnival Cruises. Are you sure this stuff is any good?
It's too good.
Give the government to GE. It's about time the damn country earned a profit. You think the Chinese will carry us forever?
That's enough, Murray.
New World Order. Tell us another one, Mr. Bush. That's just another way of saying empire, the way Hitler did it. Well, we'll teach those redheads how to govern democratically, or by God, we'll govern for them.
She's coming, Pop.
And we don't need the UN either. We'll unite those freaking nations our way, or by God, we won't unite them at all. Even better, we'll deal with the jerk-offs one by one.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
dear Pop.
Oh, for the love of Pete.
Happy birthday
to you.
Make a wish, Mr. B.
What did you wish for, Pop?
If you tell, it won't come true.
Do I have to blow the freaking candle too?
You do if you want your wish to come true. Good for you, Mr. B.
Way to go, Pop.
First try, too.
And just because you can't eat it doesn't mean you don't get a piece.
What about Mildred?
Oh, of course, we can't forget Mrs. B.
Oh,
Chocolate. Your favorite, dear.
what's the point of blowing out the candle if you can't eat the cake?
It's your birthday, Mr. B.
TISHA can be so thoughtful.
Mm.
Mmm, yummy. Oh,
Oh,
don't you think it's yummy, Marty?
Very yummy, Tisha.
Oh, Mr. B, I love it when you watch me eat.
I'll give you this much, Tish. You know how to eat a cake. Nice and creamy.
Just the way you like it, dear.
Oh, another piece, Marty?
Oh, no thanks, Tisha.
I believe I'll have another.
And another big piece for the birthday boy.
Thanks, Tisha.
Mmm. Are you guys going to hog it all to yourselves?
The great big juicy bud for Tisha.
I didn't know you went in for that sort of thing, Tisha.
Only on special occasions.
That's what we all say.
This is a special occasion, Mr. B.
Well, then pass the pipe.
You think to be a real pro, Pop.
Practice makes perfect.
Some call it a scourge. I call it a sacrament.
Don't you have something to tell us, Mr. B?
What, Pop?
It looks like it's time for us to start saying our goodbyes.
Not now, Pop. It's your birthday.
Listen to him, Marty.
Not you too, Tish. For Christ's sakes, he just blew out the candle. Come on, Pop. You've still got plenty of time left.
A couple of weeks. A month at the outside.
It's true, Marty.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Oh, but you knew, Marty. You know
Like
what
this.
kind of nurse I am.
Not like this, I didn't know.
They tell me that soon I'll be in pretty bad shape. So if there's anything between us that needs saying, we best get it said.
Do you want to talk to a rabbi, Pop?
I do not. I want to talk to you.
Maybe I should leave you two
Sit
alone.
down, Tish.
How do you feel about that, Marty?
Please, Tisha.
I took a trip to Detroit before I got sick. I wanted to see if anyone was still alive. Seems like I'm the last comrade.
Oh, Murray, don't be so dramatic.
What's Detroit like, Pop?
I couldn't recognize the place. Our house is gone. Your school is gone. Cass Tech is gone. Even 12th Street is gone. It used to be a busy thoroughfare, Tisha, full of people and stores and even trolley cars.
I remember, Pop.
Yeah.
Stores with sawdust on the floor, barrels of pickles and herring, the smell of freshly baked bread.
Even the butcher knew your name.
You got me my first banana split at Zukin's.
Remember, Mertz? We had to help him eat it.
Yeah. Now it's all gone. It's like there never was a 12th Street. They even ripped out the trolley tracks.
What a shame, Murray.
What's there now?
Rosa Parks Boulevard. Since when did you start hanging out with rabbis?
Since I started going to temple.
Oh, for crying out loud. Did you feel guilty? He goes to temple now.
Marge wanted me to go, so I went. What's the big deal?
I think that was very thoughtful, dear.
Please, just tell me you don't believe that crap.
Oh, that's enough, Murray.
Some of it I do.
Oh, for crying out loud. I don't believe I'm hearing this. How often do you go to temple?
I haven't gone since I was separated.
Oh, thank God for small blessings.
Don't you care about being a Jew, Pop?
There's more to being a Jew than going to temple.
Like what?
Ask Hitler.
Be nice, Murray.
Just talk to him, Pop.
Who? Hitler?
The rabbi, dear.
How come we always had a Christmas tree, Pop?
So we could give you presents.
How come I never had a bar mitzvah?
I told you, Murray.
You didn't even want the bloody bris.
Bar mitzvahs don't hurt, dear.
Did you have a bar mitzvah, Mr. B?
I did not,
Why not?
because I was too busy earning a living.
Didn't you celebrate Shabbats when you were a kid?
I did, by turning on lights for Orthodox Jews. They didn't want to go to hell, so they paid me to go to hell for them. 5 cents a light, 2 bits for lighting the oven.
Mm. Were you sorry, Mr. B?
Oh, yeah, sorry Saturday came only once a week. I made a killing on high holidays.
Marty's not even a Jewish name.
I know. We named you after Martin Luther King.
I'm glad you dropped the Luther part.
That's not true, Murray. We
Yeah.
named him after your brother.
Yeah, we named you after my brother. Remember? I showed you his picture. He died in Spain. Until I met your mother, he was the only one who even loved me. When I'm gone, no one will even know his name.
I will, Pop.
Didn't your mother love you, Mr. B?
My mother died when I was born.
I didn't know that.
Oh, there's a lot about being that you don't know.
How could I know if you never told me?
Oh, he loves you, dear.
Tell me, Bob. I really want to know. What do you think happens after?
After what?
You know what?
Nada. That's what happens.
Be nice, Murray.
I don't want to believe that, Pop.
Neither do I. But that doesn't mean it's not true. There's something about the human psyche that refuses to let it accept its own end.
Don't lecture, Murray.
If a man can't lecture his son on his bloody deathbed, when can he lecture him?
How can you accept it then?
Because there's also something about the human psyche that wants to know the truth.
Hmm. What do you believe in, Marty?
That we go on.
Nada. I love that word. It sounds just like what it means. Nada. It's the best damn word in the English language.
It's not in the English language.
Well, it should be, goddammit.
Do you believe we go on, Tish?
I do, Marty. As long as life goes on, we go on. Remember, we talked about that, Mr. B?
No, I don't.
Of course you do.
I don't want to talk about it.
Well, I do.
Talk to him, Murray.
All right, Marty, let's talk it. What do we know about dying? Not what we believe, but what do we actually know?
One.
1 minute we walk, we talk, we pick our noses, then just like that, we're dead meat. Like the dead meat you buy at the butcher shop. What just happened? Something must have happened.
We died. That's what happened.
That's just a word. But what actually happened?
You tell me.
We can't answer that until we answer this. What makes us alive? Not just people, all living things. What makes cats different from rocks?
What?
Some call it the life force. Some call it soul. Some call it God. It's the same thing, no matter what you call it.
What do you call it, Bob?
I call it what science calls it: light.
But then what happens when we die?
That depends on who we think we really are. Are we the dead meat, or are we the light that makes the dead meat alive? May as well say we're one or say the other. I don't know about you, Marty, but I'd sooner be light than dead meat.
Then where do we go when we die?
That's a good question, Marty. I suppose we got to go somewhere. Where do you think we go, TISHA?
Okay, if we're the light, Mr. B, then there's only one place we can go to, which is the place that we came from, like a raindrop falling into the sea.
Huh.
Only we fall back into the light.
It looks like you're right, Marty. You're right all the time. We do live forever.
That's not the kind of living forever I had in mind.
I know, Marty. But it's better than nada.
If nothing happens, how do you explain her?
Why must I be explained, Murray?
I don't have to explain her. I have to live with her.
What do you think, Mrs. B? Do you think we go on?
As long as we're remembered, we do.
What did she say, Mr. B?
Oh, as long as we're remembered, we do. And when when there's no one left to remember?
Then we don't anymore.
Oh, then we don't anymore.
Tell her I love her, Bob.
Murray, that is so sweet.
Tell her yourself. She can hear you.
But I can't hear her.
Well, I'll tell you what she says.
That's a great idea, Mr. B. Go on, Murray.
I love you, Ma.
And mommy loves her darling boy.
She says she loves your darling boy.
Remember when you used to call me mommy?
Remember when you used to call her mommy?
I remember, Ma. This is ridiculous, Pop.
I know.
Then I dropped you off at nursery school.
Then she dropped you off at nursery school.
It was your very first day. You were so excited.
It was your very first day.
You were having so much fun. I left without saying goodbye.
You were having so much fun, she left without saying goodbye.
When I came to pick you up, they said you never stopped crying.
When she came to get you, they said you never stopped crying.
I thought you were never coming back.
And after that, I wasn't mommy anymore. I was mom.
And after that, she wasn't mommy anymore. She was Ma.
Can you ever forgive me, my baby boy?
She wants you to forgive her.
For what, Ma?
For leaving without saying goodbye.
For leaving without saying goodbye.
I love you, Mommy.
Oh, for the love of Pete.
Murray, ask him if he still loves Marge.
She wants to know if you still love Marge.
We don't get along, Ma.
She didn't ask you if you get along. She asked you if you love her.
When we get along, I do.
You have to learn to get along.
You have to learn to get along.
Maybe we don't want to get along.
Why not?
If you lived in the same house, it makes life so much easier, dear.
Makes life so much easier.
You saying we should get back together?
Well, if you don't learn how to get along with her, you'll just have to start all over with someone else.
If not, you'll just have to start all over with someone else.
It's no reason to get back together.
Then how about because she's the mother of your kids?
Did she say that?
No, I said that.
Good for you, Murray.
What are you looking at, Paul?
I'm looking at you.
What?
Don't worry so much about what happens after. Worry about what happens now. while you're still alive and kicking.
Like what, Pop?
You tell me. If I was a writer, I'd write something good.
They don't want good, Pop. They want something that makes money. What would you write about?
I'd write about something I cared about. Something you can be proud of when you're lying where I'm lying now.
Like what?
I'd write about death.
Death's a downer, Pop. No one wants to watch a movie about death.
Well, then how come they make so many?
It's not the kind of death you're talking about.
Then don't write a movie. Write a book.
Too many words.
Well, what kind of writer doesn't like words?
The kind that write movies.
Then write a play.
You mean a musical?
Yeah, a musical, only without the music.
A stage play? You mean they still make those things?
What a wonderful idea. God, we always loved the theater, Mertz.
Write a play. No visuals to worry about. And I can write dialogue in my sleep. The trouble is, plays don't make money.
Well, then write movies for money and plays for posterity.
What a wonderful idea, Mertz.
They don't treat the writer like a piece of shit either.
Then, when you're lying where I'm lying now, you can say, once I did something I can be proud of.
What are you proud of, Mr. B?
The union, dear.
The union.
The UAW, TISHA.
Only it was AWU back then. The Auto Workers Union.
Well, how do you organize a union, Mr. B?
Well, you open an office in someone's garage. You talk to anyone who'll listen.
He was at that factory gate before it was light out and it was dark before he got home.
Yeah, you give speeches, you hold meetings.
In the summer heat and in the dead of winter.
You pass out leaflets.
They used to tear them up and throw them in his face.
Yeah.
Did anyone listen, Pop?
A few did. Enough to build an organization, but not enough to make a difference. Problem was, we were talking to the wrong workers. We thought the most exploited workers would be the first to get on board, but as it turned out, they were the last. They thought the way things are is the way they have to be.
Once that man gets started, nothing can stop him.
Then we organized the Stripers. It was a whole new ball game.
What's a striper?
The elite of the line. They could paint a pin stripe across the side of a car, straight as the edge of a ruler. They thought they were better than the rest of us. They didn't look at themselves as workers. Oh, no. You know what kind I mean.
What kind, Pop?
The kind that vote Republican. Then management put in a machine that could paint stripes even straighter. And the stripers found out who they really are, working stiffs just like the rest of us.
And then what happened, Mr. B?
Management outsmarted itself. The machine painted the stripes too damn straight. People wanted hand-painted stripes. So they called back the stripers, only at half their wages. Well, somebody had to pay for the bloody machine.
Not even God can stop him.
So I led the stripers out on a strike. They won back their wages, and I got myself a new stump speech. See, it's not about higher wages and better working conditions. It was never about that stuff like that. It's about freaking pride.
Well, what did you say, Mr. B?
Get mad, goddammit. How long are you going to let those bastards treat you like a piece of shit, huh? If you don't have the balls to stand up for yourself, then there's the damn door. We don't want you in the freaking union.
That man was a fighter.
Yeah, but if you are ready to stand up, the union's the only way you can stand up. Now, let's start kicking some ass.
Did you kick ass, Pop?
Well, we kicked ass all right. Strike after strike. It was Briggs, Dodge, Fisher Body.
Did you win?
Lost every goddamn one. They brought in the scabs, and every last one of them was black or brown.
Them niggers are taking our jobs. Send the beaners back to Mexico.
We learned our next lesson. Don't let management split you up. I walked into the union hall. Whites were on one side, blacks on the other. So, if we let them split us up, we lost before we even begin. But if we remember who we are, nothing can stop us. Then they got up on their black and white asses and mixed it all up until the union looked like a checkerboard.
We learned as we went along.
So did management. Every time we formed a picket line, they sent in the goons. They'd start fights. And the cops came in with their billy clubs. Oh, they were followed by the press with their cameras. And guess who always ended up looking like bad guys?
They called him a red.
Go back to Russia, you commie bastards!
They threw him in jail. They knocked out his eye.
My teeth, damn it.
Well, I knew they knocked out something.
We learned our next lesson. No fighting, no violence, no destruction of property, no excuse to turn the people against us.
But they couldn't stop my mercy.
Yeah, but management was never satisfied. They were always looking for ways to squeeze more out of the workers. They even brought in efficiency experts from Harvard Business School. They timed every move you made. They could tell you how long it took you to wipe your own ass.
How long, Pop?
To management, the line was the holy grail. Anything made it move faster was good. Anything that slowed it down was a holy sin. Then we knew exactly what we had to do. Find a way to stop that freaking line.
Flint.
That's right, Dildy. Flint.
Isn't it funny? I can't remember what happened a moment ago, but I remember Flint as if it were yesterday.
So do I. We pulled up at the gates of GM. I climbed up on the roof of that car and I raised my arms up in the air.
Fold my knight in shining armor.
I said, General Motors is now on strike.
It was like magic.
One by one, the workers sat down at their machines.
What happened then, Mr. B?
The UAW happened.
I'll never forget it, dear.
Neither will the powers that be.
And then what happened, Mr. B?
Well, I stepped down before they started screaming red.
What did you get out of it?
I got the satisfaction of forming UAW, CIO, and bringing the biggest corporation on the bloody planet to their knees.
It's not fair, Murray. You did the work. And Walter Reuther got the credit.
Well, it's not about credit, Mildred.
I know, dear, but it's still not fair.
Yeah. Michelangelo left the ceiling. Shakespeare left some plays. You left a union, Mr. B, a living, growing thing.
No one gives a damn about unions anymore, TISHA. It's guess what happens to stripers when the pinstripes got out of style?
If you ask me, your generation could stand a Murray or two.
Leave it alone, Dildy.
I won't leave it alone. It's been left alone too long. And where would this country be without men like my Murray?
What did she say, Pop?
She said your generation could use a Murray or two.
What would you do now?
I'm 90 years old. Are you asking what you should do?
Yeah. Yeah, Pop, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah. Well, take a pick. There's a long, big list. Nuclear disarmament, global warming, cutting down the rainforest, poisoning rivers, turning the oceans into cesspools, and the rest of the planet into a garbage dump. Problems like that.
Where do we start?
You tell me. All I know is you better get going. You're running out of time. I'm just glad I got it off my back.
Isn't it a relief, Mr. B?
You have no idea.
I know what I'm going to write about, Pop.
What?
You.
Oh, for the love of Pete.
Did you hear that, Murray? He's going to write about you.
What a wonderful idea, Marty.
You know nothing about me.
You'll tell me. Starting tomorrow. I'll bring my recorder.
What's the schedule look like, TISHA?
I think we can squeeze him in.
It's time his story was told.
Bedtime, Mr. B.
You get some sleep, Pop. We have a lot to do.
And only 2 weeks to do it.
Maybe a month. Coffee will be ready. I'll see you out, Marty.
I love you, Pop. And I love you, Mommy. I love you too, Tisha.
Bye-bye, my baby boy.
Isn't life wonderful, Mertzy?
Don't forget my present, TISHA.
Hold your horses, Mr. B. I'll be there in just a minute.
Oh, Mertzy, I can't wait to see it.
Neither can I. Don't you have something to do, Dilty?
Happy birthday, Mr. B.
What a lovely present, dear.
Oh, for crying out loud, TISHA, give a man a chance to focus.
Be nice, Murray.
Please, Tish, it's my last birthday. Oh, maybe there is a God after all.
What a wonderful gift, Murray.
You're right, Tish. I feel his presence. Turn around.
Tisha can be so thoughtful sometimes.
Now I know what I'm going to remember when I die. From now on, Tish, I'm going to call you Tush. Bend over. Bend.
Bedtime, you naughty boy.
Please, Tish.
That's enough, Murray.
So naughty.
Wasn't that a thoughtful gift? Thank her, Murray.
If there is a God, Tisha, you are his angel. Oh, don't go, Mildred. Don't go.
I'm right here, dear. Oh, Mertzy, wasn't that a lovely day?
Not too bad, as far as birthdays go.
Well, I was definitely a fan of that fantastic show and script. Congratulations to the entire cast and crew, and what a wonderful script from Jack Raymond. So we're going to be coming up on the Talkback discussion. We've got our chat going on. I'm not sure if it's this way or if it's that way, but please put in any questions you have about the script. I have a Zoom meeting open with a few of the actors, and a few more people are supposed to be joining us. So please, questions, comments for the cast and crew and etc. And we'll be getting started on that in a minute or two. Before that, while we're getting ready for the Talkback discussion, if you need to, get another drink, pop some more popcorn, take a bathroom break. We will be starting up the discussion in a couple of minutes. But if for some events that are coming up for the Long Beach Playhouse, tomorrow night is our the second night of the New Works Festival. We will be presenting the other script, The Clipper, by Marianne Woods. It's going to be directed by Austin James. So it's going to be a similar night than tonight, and we'll have a slightly different link. If you go to the main Long Beach Playhouse YouTube page, you'll see tomorrow night's link there. And after we finish up our New Works Festival this week, in a couple of weeks on April 17th at 7 p.m., we are going to be doing our Staff and Friends Cabaret. Usually we do this up in our studio theater. Obviously this year it's a little different, so we're going to be doing this online. I will be emceeing the event along with a bunch of terrible jokes. Something like, have you heard the one about loose leaf paper? Never mind, it's terrible. Ching! So, if you want more jokes like that, please attend the Staff and Friends Cabaret coming up April 17th. Tickets will be going on sale this upcoming weekend, and they're going to be $10, and we'll have raffle prizes that night as well, along with some great performances. We've got some singers, we've got a monologue, we've got some dancers, we've got a magic comedy guy. So we've got a lot of fun stuff coming up for the Staff and Friends Cabaret. And if you would just give us one more minute, we're going to be opening up the Zoom chat to check in with the actors. And then we're going to get started. So please, if you have any comments or questions, please put them in the YouTube chat, and we will be answering them momentarily. And just give us one more minute, and we'll be back in a second with the cast and some of the crew to answer your questions. And I'm so sorry, I just realized we were muted. Tech difficulties, sorry guys. Let's start that again. I think they can hear us now. Apologies, audience. Anthony, why don't you introduce yourself, then Sean, and then Sonja.
Hello, everyone. I'm Anthony Pierre Christopher, and I played the role of Doctor.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for watching. My name is Sean Fisher, and I played Marty.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sonja Inge, and I played TISHA.
And then
And I'm Sarah Hoeven, and I played Mildred.
great. And Milan and Dion, can you introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Milan. I was the stage manager.
My name's Dion McNeil, and I was the video editor.
Hi, I'm Tamara.
And then Carl has just joined us. Carl, we're just doing some introductions.
Hi, I'm Carl.
Okay, so I haven't seen any questions yet in our chat, but I did want to ask.
Controlling this.
I
didn't even find it introduced.
I did want to ask Tamara, as our director, can you tell the audience a bit about your process? When I know we received these scripts last year, this is a much longer process than our usual New Works Festival. But if you can tell our audience about your process and when you received the script and your journey to tonight.
All of that, okay. And so you can see me, right? And
yes.
Hear me good. Okay, all right. Well, the process actually began, as you well know, about a year ago. And we started live and in person on the stage, and then of course the pandemic hit, and then we rebooted again this year, and I got to work with everyone. We started about in February, and we started off with just weekday evening rehearsals where we would do a table read or a Zoom read, and then we would break it down to all the different characters and whatnot. And because this is a historical play, there was a little bit more to be done with this. So I was also the dramaturg for a bit. So I, talked about the sit-down strike in Flint and whatnot, and gave Carl a lot of information about what went on there and whatnot. So there was a little bit more involved, and I also shared it with the other actors as well. I think Sean also looked at it, so they would really understand where Murray was coming from and why he was so, excited about, being a union organizer, and why it was so important to him and how it drove his life. And it also drove him away from his son. So, to understand all of that, you kind of had to understand the backstory. And so that's what we did that for a while. And, so we took it piece by piece, and then we started running it as one piece. And these guys worked really, really hard. I mean, usually a reading doesn't take this many rehearsals, but again, because it was historical and there was so many different moving parts, we really needed to chew into it so that we could do Mr. Raymond's piece justice. And I think we did. I know the actors did. They did an excellent job, and I'm very, 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 very proud of them. And this is Milan's first time being a stage manager for the theater, and she did an excellent job. And Dion and I worked together, so he already kind of knew the lay of the land of live performance. But he's an excellent editor. So I had a great, great cast and a wonderful crew. I couldn't ask for anything more.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for all of that, all that background. Okay, so we've got a number of the actors here, and I wanted to ask anything. Each actor, I would like to respond. We can kind of go all. I'll call on people. But anything about your character, when you received the script and after reading it, anything that, struck you about your character, something you really enjoyed about their personality, or something that you got to do with the script. And let's see, I'll pick Sean first.
Okay. So when I first went through the script, the thing that really stuck with me was just the range of emotion that Marty kind of goes through in trying to find a connection with his father. I mean, it starts out with them really kind of butting heads. And it takes a long time for them to come to some kind of conclusion, for them to come to some kind of denouement. I really enjoyed the range of interaction that I got to have with my father, Murray, in the play. And I mean, the dialogue as well, I really enjoyed, especially towards the end of the first act, the kind of quick back and forth and the arguments. I mean, they're great fun to play. They're emotionally draining, but they're great fun.
Great, awesome. Thank you, Sean. Anthony, let's go to you next.
Well, of course, I'm in one scene, but I think it's the scene that is the hardest, I guess, in terms of the actor. And I had to, one, work with Tamara on it, and two, actually talk to my cousin who's a doctor. And I was trying to, we were trying to figure out, like, why is he so hesitant to give him this information that he's, looking for and asking for. And my cousin came up with a very illuminating response, in that when you're a doctor as a professional, regardless of your personal feelings, you never really try to tell someone how much time they have to live, because you never know how they're going to react, because you could be completely wrong. You could tell somebody 2 months to 4 weeks, and they could live 6 months to a year. And then you could tell them they're going to live 6 months to a year, and they die in a week. And so as a doctor, I guess you can't set that expectation. And I was trying to ask my cousin, what would be the hesitancy of a doctor, giving that information? And so it's pivotal in that respect, because after that point, the energy, the mood, the speed of the play kind of shifts at that point once he receives that information. And then just creating a character where, obviously there's a history between the doctor and Carl and TISHA, and balancing what's professional and what's personal is what I found interesting in that one little scene. And, how do you build that, and how do you make that, relatable, palatable, and believable at the same time? So I found that a great challenge, that even though he's in that one scene, he's delivering information that's critical and truly changes the shift of the play, especially for that particular character with Carl. And I appreciated the fact that Tamara just kind of allowed, the dialogue and the conversation in the play back and forth, I would say, between myself and her, to try to meet that out and figure out what that was. So, and the play in general, I thought was really interesting, and really quite something that you don't see a lot in terms of, people towards end of life, and how family members and how caregivers, etc., deal with that. I had never seen anything like this before, and I never participated in anything like this before. And so for me, it was really kind of interesting, because you do start thinking about those things, because my mother is, senior, and, addressing some of those issues kind of, for me, was really just interesting to think about.
Okay, great. Thank you, Anthony. Let's see. Sonja, why don't you go next?
Yeah, so playing the paid caregiver was interesting, because at the time I was taking care of my father. So there was a lot of parallels, and he was like Murray. So in my family, my dad's nickname is Fred G. Sanford, because he can be hard on people sometimes. So yeah, it was just interesting to kind of channel that character into TISHA, as well as I could relate to Marty's character too. Because my dad was a union guy and also active in civil rights. So to him, me pursuing the arts was, he got it, but he was like, yeah, but how are you going to make a mark on the world? Like, that was his big thing. So especially when the line that Murray has for me is, why is a beautiful, smart woman like you doing here? It's like, well, this is her passion. And so it's the same with me in acting. It's like, what's my passion? It's what I like to do. So yeah, that's why the script was very interesting for me as well.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. Sarah, anything to add about your character and your process?
Well, I think the unique thing about my character is that she's dead. and simply a figment of Murray's imagination. So you know that she's dead and that she's his wife and Marty's mother, and that she died on a Sunday morning. But other than that, you really don't know anything about her. She's just, you know, a dead character. So the other ones, you tend to learn more about them and their backgrounds and what they did. And she really is there to function as a conduit, I think, to help Murray communicate with his son in the last days of his life, because that's been a challenge. So maybe creating her in his mind helps him. And so I think that's the real purpose of that character is to help them communicate, maybe bring a little bit of levity to the play. Probably some of the biggest challenges is that many of her lines are the same thing, saying 3 words over and over, and trying to bring some life into that.
Well, you played it well. Carl.
Thank you.
Carl, please, anything with when you were reading the script and thinking about your character, things that stuck out to you, things that, you know, you enjoyed playing, scenes with other characters. What do you got to say, Carl?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun because, Murray goes through so many changes and has so much going on, similar to what Sean was saying. You know, it's so it's fun for an actor to go from being like a total grouch to being, you know, passionate about the union, to being loving to his wife, to being, you know, it's just this, you know, high. It's just all this. There's a lot going on, and obviously that's a lot of fun for an actor. And also some really delightful lines that I really enjoyed. Kathy. There's some delightful lines that I really enjoyed, such as, you know, when Sarah says, you know, but, you know, just think about it, we'll be together. And I go, what, in that closet? You know, and those are like some really fun lines that I really enjoyed. Can't think of any other, but there were quite a few along the path that I had a lot of fun. And so I think mostly, you know, it was that, all the variety. And it's kind of fun playing a grouchy person, too. You know, I kind of identified.
Great. Well, thank you, Carl. I see we did have a couple of questions and comments come in through the YouTube. So let's see. We talked about the rehearsal process. Susie Heaton asked, was this the writer's first full-length play? So Jack wasn't able to join us tonight, unfortunately. But I believe he's written a couple of different, couple of plays. I believe he's submitted to the New Works Festival in the past. And then a question from Austin James, our director for tomorrow night's show. This show seemed less about the union and more about the personal connections. Any thoughts? And yeah, that's, I just, my 2 cents, it was interesting as a viewer. I didn't really, you know, I hadn't read the script before. I watched it tonight for the first time. I wanted to know more about the union. I wanted the union to kind of be more of a character, you know, in its way. But yeah, any thoughts about kind of the show less being about the union and more about the personal connections? Anyone bring in their thoughts?
Yeah, I think that the show is really about this guy preparing to die. Really, that's what the show is about, and how it impacts the people around him. And the union is a background in the sense that was his legacy, and so the union plays this sort of secondary. You know, that was his legacy. Like you know, other people have other legacies, so. It wasn't really about the union per se, in my view.
I also, if I may, say that I think it was really a lot of this play was about learning to love and finding that love. And I think I had said that to the cast early on, because, you know, the father and the son kept trying to find a common ground. They kept trying to find the love, but I think it really, as Sarah said, it really took Sarah to help connect them, because that's really what she was all about, was about the love. It's like, it doesn't matter, Murray, it just matters what's happening right now. And forget, yes, the union is important, but the relationship between the father and the son. Talk to your son, Murray said it over and over and over again, and Marty was constantly saying, I just wanted to get your attention. Finally, in the latter part of the script, I believe that Murray got it. And I think it is true that we did do a turn after the doctor said, and it was real, it was black and white. It was like, this is how long you have. And then Murray says, if you've got something to say, we need to say it now. Okay, so maybe something in that reefer moment made them kind of like open up or made him open up, because Marty's just been waiting for his father to love him. And Sarah is just saying, just love him, it's easy, just let go. And I think that the play is about love. In the end, yes, we all have to die, but it's not how you've lived, but who you've loved, right? So, and I think that that's what happens.
I think one of the things that I found helpful thinking about with the character of Marty was the shadow that Murray kind of casts is very large. He has done something momentous. And especially when you look at how Marty kind of treats his profession, which is something that he should be proud of, but he treats it as, well, the only reason I'm there is so they have something to change. It's not an important thing. It's not a big deal. It kind of shows the influence that his father's legacy has had on his life. Like that, even though Marty is doing something which to anyone else would be, immense, I think he still feels like he hasn't lived up to the greatness of his father. And he still doesn't quite understand what that involves, what his father did. He just knows that it helped a lot of people.
We got a couple more comments in our YouTube from Jane Nunn, one of our New Works Committee, the New Works Committee chair. Also a little bit of a wake up about talking to our elders and hearing their story before it's too late. And yeah, I definitely agree. It's one of those, it's interesting that we were going to be doing this show a year ago, before all of this. And in this past year, most people have lost someone, if it's, due to the pandemic or due to just the world and aging and all that. Yeah, I think it's a great reminder to talk to your elders and hear stories. I don't know if anyone wants to comment on that comment. I don't need to be the one talking.
It's vastly important. I just from my personal life, my grandmother died many years ago, but a couple of years before she died, I used to go and visit her, fairly regularly, and she would tell me stories about being 20 years old, working as a nurse, sneaking out of the hospital with her friends, going out into town, getting caught by the matron on the way home. And at her funeral, I was telling my dad this, and he said, I never knew any of that. That's just who I didn't know she was that kind of person. I think we've lost so many people in this last year. It's more important than ever, if there is someone in your life that you don't necessarily know the story of. I think it's really important to talk to people, to talk to your family members and understand their life story, find out more about them so you can pass that on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then going back to from an earlier comment we were talking about from Sonita Sarat. I believe I'm saying that. Apologies, Sonita, if I'm mispronouncing that. I agree with the director re the Union. I think the Union was an absent character that could be seen as an antagonist. I like that everyone has the same face reactions.
No, I get that, but I mean, Carl, I don't know if you thought of the Union as more of your child than I was.
I would say
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. I think that Murray devoted way more of his energy and life force to the union than just about anything else. So kind of made you a bit of an orphan in a sense, or your character, I should say. That's the vibe I get from reading it.
Right.
Another question from Austin James. How did you go about adapting for Zoom? I know we talked we talked a little bit about this earlier, but for our Tamara, our director, our crew members, and actors did performing on Zoom. I guess, did you make changes? Did you think you adjusted your character because you were on the computer as opposed to, in person? Any thoughts on the difference with performing the lines?
Well, there were a lot of, there were two different schools of thought here. One was we started off with Zoom. We started off using that platform. And then we moved to StreamYard, which is more of a performance platform. And so it seemed to me that the Zoom, I'll let them answer, and then I can jump back in, but tell them how you were between Zoom and StreamYard, because there were a lot of different people that had different feelings about that.
Well, excuse me, I'll speak up and say I definitely preferred StreamYard over Zoom from a performance standpoint. And that was just because, how Zoom operates, one person can speak at a time, literally. And when you're coming from a theater background, it's, you got to have that energy. You got to hear those words. You got to, we're already, right now, we're all in our respective homes or offices or wherever. And I haven't been on stage in, a couple of years. So, when you're having to now do theater in a smaller space, looking at the camera, trying to figure out who's where's what and when, and, going over that was a different kind of rehearsal process. It's like, I got to look this way to look at Marty. Oh, now I got to look this way to look at, Madison or whatever. And, it's just crazy. Versus having somebody physically there, and again, just giving you that energy, or you being able to feed off of that energy. And StreamYard was a heck of a lot better in terms of allowing us at least to speak freely and at the same time and keeping that pace going. Because with Zoom, it was, you'd have to wait, or if I said something and Marty said something and you cut them off, you don't even hear the line. So it was different. It was definitely different. I mean, and God, please let this not be the way going forward after 2021. Please. And
look at Carl, like he's got brain. Carl.
I think for me too, it was also the lack of props either way. Like, it just felt strange to be saying happy birthday. I'm supposed to be bringing out a birthday cake, but I'm just looking into this light in my camera. I don't know. It was bizarre. But yeah, Zoom is, I'm with Anthony. I hope outside opens up really soon. But it was nice to do theater, and at least I got to be home. So I was, not too late to rehearsal.
Yeah, it's been tricky. You kind of you're not acting to another human being. I mean, I'm just here staring at my screen and hoping that my connection is good enough and hoping that I'm not dropping in and out and my sound is working and everything else. And I just have to. There's so many variables, and you just have to cross your fingers and hope that it all works and hope that someone tells you if something isn't working, because there's no way of you knowing on the other end. It's tricky. It's really tricky.
I have to say that this is why I spend a lot of time doing piecework, because we did do piecework, because they are just talking to the camera. And so, you know, I was holding up the mirror to say, okay, yeah, this is great. And to help them to connect emotionally and, you know, and just like you're having a conversation with your friend. And so I did that with everyone, whether we did it in a group or whether I did it individually with folks. Sometimes I stayed after and talked to folks about it. I got phone calls. It's like, how's this working? Where am I supposed to look? Poor Carl in the beginning was like, I don't know where to look. Where do I look? You know, so it's like, no, you're doing good. And actually, he became after a while very comfortable with it, you know, and I think it was just a matter of just continuing to do it and to connect through the words, because the words is what really brought people together more so than looking in a camera. But you could hear someone talking to you and they're connecting that way. And I think that helped immensely. For my aspect, anyways, they started because I would say to them, it sounds like it's like you got to connect. We got to, you know, really just have a conversation with each other. And finally, that started to really gel. Mm-hmm.
I would say from a technical standpoint, working through these unprecedented times, especially as someone that hasn't really done stage managing in a theater aspect, this was a special challenge because you don't really have anyone to go to and say, how do I do this? Or how would you go about this? What exactly should I be doing? It's kind of a free for all at this moment. And, you know, there's a lot of testing things and checking to see what works and what doesn't work. And that was something that was a challenge, but also really exciting in itself, because now I'm one of the first people to do it, or, you know, I'm among the first people to do it. And so if the time comes where I need to continue doing this, I now know what I'm doing, know what works and what doesn't work. And I think that kind of goes with everybody as well, is that like we're all kind of testing the waters and figuring out what works for us, what works for everyone else. And that's kind of like what New Works is about, is just seeing, you know, if this is playable and if this is something that we should continue doing. And I thought it was a really interesting process with moving from Zoom to StreamYard, especially because I wasn't familiar with operating Zoom and I wasn't familiar with operating StreamYard, but I learned quickly, and that was the fun part about it, getting to like get those camera angles and getting those captions in, bringing people in on time. Like, it's still that same stress of stage management, but it's like a completely new thing where I am doing most of the work, and it's really fun, but also you're like, okay, did I do it right? I don't know if I did it right.
Yeah, a bit different than when you're in person and, okay, your actor's not on stage, so the audience is definitely not seeing it, as opposed to Zoom or the other programs where it's like, can we hear them? Did they freeze? Are they taking a pause? Well, I think everybody, major props, everybody tonight, you all did amazing. And great, and Dion, fantastic work with the video and the editing. Everything being put together like that was fantastic, and I think it really added and helped move the play along than if it was a lot of, you know, I don't even know, lagging times and things like that. Have you done a lot of video editing at this point before this? Is this something you normally do? Can you tell us about your process with the video editing?
Yeah, I think with like how things are now as far as video editing, because I think Sean had mentioned there's just so many variables that go into what could cause some lagging, things like that. And a project Tamara and I have worked on previously, you know, I think we sat on one video, we edited for maybe like 4 hours, because, you know, we're having a lot of lagging with some of the connection with some of the actors or some of the guest artists, but it was very meticulous in that point. And that was sort of new for me, where it was kind of like, oh man, like I gotta really kind of understand how to match up the video, the audio quality with the person moving their mouth, and then if they're making some sort of sound in the frame. But this was my first time working with Long Beach, and it's this cast, it's great. The play was really amazing. I have a really deep connection with my grandfather. I call him Papa because he kicked me in the butt if I say grandfather. But I was telling him about this play over the past several weeks, and you know, he kind of went on tangents and kind of started to tell me about personal things with himself. And unfortunately, he's not as tech savvy and he's unable to see it. But going back to your question, yeah, this was I would say my fifth project in regards to streaming, something being, you know, recorded in StreamYard or in Zoom, and then kind of doing some post-production work. And honestly, it's actually, it's new, it's fun. It can be challenging sometimes, but I think Tamara's seeing me, and so has Milan, where I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, and we're going to push the limit and see how I can like do this and make this look that way. And then, you know, keep it in the way that the vision is supposed to be, but also kind of add a little bit of that video editing creative touch to that. And I was just honored that I could kind of do some of that. So thank you so much.
Great, awesome, thank you. And we have we got one more question in the chat. I think this can be our last question, and can be an uplifting answer or maybe a bummer. Has this experience in this script affected the way you think or talk about death?
Well, that's a loaded question. Wow.
Take a moment to think about it. I can answer. Just that I can put a thought in as a viewer. You know, I wasn't not an actor or the writer or anything like that. But I always enjoy, you know, shows, movies, plays where it is kind of that, there's an afterlife element, you know, either it's a ghost, it's a figment of an imagination from the other side. And I always think of it as kind of a positive, you know, like, oh, there is, you know, like it's, even if it's a figment of the imagination, there is this nice hope that, oh, there's going to be, you know, my family and loved ones are on the other side and they're, you know, talking to me and they're going to guide me through. So I really enjoy proper content like that, because it's a lot better than thinking about the other way it can go.
For me, she wasn't a figment at all. So to me, the wife came back to help me at this moment when I need it. That's how I viewed it. Mm-hmm. And so in my head, I was just talking to my wife, not any figment or anything. I wasn't making any of that up, as far as I'm concerned. I think one thing I was really impressed by in the script was Murray's insistence at kind of being told his due date, I suppose, you know, how long do I have left? I think one of the issues that we do have just as human beings is we stay away from the idea of death because it's genuinely terrifying. But it's something that we're all going to experience. I don't see why it should be a taboo subject. And if we treat it as a taboo subject, then it makes it so much more uncomfortable dealing with the finality of someone's life, dealing with the impermanence of people. I mean, you know, if you think someone's going to be around forever, there's no necessary reason to, you know, I can always catch up with them next week. Like Marty says, you know, I didn't, you know, I knew you were bad. I didn't know it was this bad. I didn't know it was 2 weeks to a month. I think it's important to talk about death. I think one of the things this play does really well is it is very concrete in saying that, you know, it is going to happen and it is going to happen at some point. And it's really, yeah, I think it's something that is, it should be spoken about more, both in our lives and in art.
I think this.
Go ahead, Tim.
I think this play really makes you live in the moment and really appreciate the people around you, your loved ones. Certainly with this pandemic, and we see on TV every day all the different lives that are lost and whatnot. And I know I think, gosh, wow, I wonder if all those people were able to connect in some kind of way, because we know that in some ways they couldn't because of, you know, the infection and whatnot, and couldn't go to the hospital and this, that, and the other. But I just think that it brought out a lot of sadness, but I think it also brought out a lot of love. And I think in the people that did survive, you see them and they're like, oh my God, this is so important. You know, I know that I'm not going to be here forever, but I love right now in this moment, everybody in my family, and I appreciate people more and I appreciate life more so that I can live it to the fullest. And then when it's time for me to go on or move on, whether you go to another life or whatever it is that you believe, or if you feel like you're just going to the graveyard, that you have lived fully.
Or the closet.
Or the closet. That's right. The closet. That's right. That's my thought.
Thank you, Tamara. Anyone else have anything to add with that question, or any last thoughts before we wrap it up? We're getting to the evening time. We're getting to my bedtime. So any other anything that anyone wants to add about you know, the script or your character, something, you know, anything about this work that we got to present for the first time to the world?
Well, I just want to say thank you, Tamara. Thank you, Milan, and thank you, Dion, for having us. Thank you, Long Beach Playhouse, for presenting this and putting this on. I think it's a wonderful piece, an important piece, and I hope it, you know, finds life not only here but elsewhere, because I do think it's an important story to tell and to share. And again, I'm just honored to be with a group of wonderful people and made some new friends, met some old friends. Sonja and I've met a couple of years back, and she reminded me of that. So I just have nothing but positives from this, and even this, and that's all I can say.
Thank you, Anthony.
And once again, I want to thank my cast and my crew, and Madison and Sean, our cheerleaders behind the scenes, and also to the festival panel. I don't know you all, but thank you so much for choosing this play. And thank you very much for choosing me as a director, Sean and Madison. I appreciate it. And to all my wonderful actors, bravo, brava, yay.
Well, thank you all. Thank you all to the cast and crew for joining me, and thank you to our audience for sticking with us and submitting your questions. I hope you enjoyed the performance. Reminder, tomorrow night at 7, we've got another one of these, The Clipper, written by Marianne Woods and directed by Austin James. And so we're going to be right back here on our Long Beach Playhouse YouTube channel, a different link than tonight, obviously. We've got the Eventbrite link, the Eventbrite registration if you want to get tickets, and the link. Or head back to the Long Beach Playhouse YouTube channel tomorrow at 7. And I think that's going to be all for the night. If I can just